Breaking the News with Des Clarke.
I'm Des Clarke, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And we're coming to you this week from Bathgate. In the news this week, chickens have reportedly ganged up to kill a fox on a French farm. No news on who this gang are planning to target next, but sources on the inside have hinted that chefs at Nando's need to start watching their back. Coca-Cola have revealed for the first time that it produces 3 million tonnes of plastic packaging a year. Pepsi have not yet released their figures. However, it's suspected to be almost the same, but just not quite as good. And two farmers are making vodka from potatoes that shops say are too ugly. Unfortunately, supplies are very limited, as after necking the first bottle, the farmers suddenly think every potato they see is the most beautiful potato. Joining me are comedian and writer Janey Godley, and alongside her is political comedian Ahir Shah, and facing them are journalist and broadcaster Kaye Adams, and she's joined by award-winning stand-up Mark Nelson. This is the Broken News Round, where our teams have to guess which two major stories of the week have been mashed together into one single news headline. Now, Janey and Ahir, can you tell me the two stories mixed together here?
The Prime Minister has told MPs that she wants to
fake athletic scholarships
to leave the EU despite her second overwhelming defeat. Mrs May confirmed that she would
cheat on exams,
paving the way for Britain's departure.
Janey Godley, there were enough clues there to show us. What do you think story one might be?
I know nobody's heard it, so bear with me. It might be the Brexit again.
What?
It's like a Rubik's Cube, but it has got no political sway and nobody knows how to work it, like a woman's really confusing bra.
Parliament voted against Theresa May's deal for the second time, which forced her vote against a no-deal exit. So it's now looking likely there will be an extension to the UK's leaving date. However, Mrs May is thought to be getting ready to make the MPs vote on that same rejected deal a third time, with the threat that Brexit might get shelved indefinitely.
Right now, Donald Trump, of course, he's just waded right into the fray by saying, I could have told Theresa how to do it, it's a right mess, but Theresa didn't listen. Because you know how Donald's full of really good advice. This is a man that's been shouting about a wall longer than Pink Floyd and still hasn't even got a border. It's like one of those really long video games that everybody goes on about, but old people like me don't understand it.
I don't know. It's just we've had Meaningful Vote 2, a vote on no deal with the Spellman Amendment, and Chris Bryant is trying to stop Meaningful Vote 3 through the use of Erskine May procedures, and then I think that someone needs to request a blessing from King Joffrey. I'm starting to think that this may not have been the smartest thing we've ever done.
Kaye Adams, what do you think?
Oh, what a cynic that boy is. For one so young, isn't he? My goodness. No, I hear the extension is going to be a short extension. It's going to be till April the 1st.
Michael Gove, when Theresa's voice went, he had to take over the other day, like some kind of substitute teacher that nobody really respects. And he came on the other day and he says, the last thing we want to do is vote down this deal because we don't want to plunge the country into a period of uncertainty. As opposed to this moment where my 3-year-old has more certainty over what he's doing with his day than we do just now.
Don't you think the star of the show is John Bercow, though? Unlock! Yeah. What's he unlocking? Unlock!
It's the next level of the video game.
Janey and Ahir. You got a point for that one. But what was the other story we were after?
So I think this is a sort of scam that has allegedly been running in the United States for people to effectively bribe their children's way into elite universities. So people were like making up that their kids were really good at obscure sports, or sending them to exam centres in Houston where everything could be rigged and other people could take the test for them. And yeah, a lot of people have been fined for this because what you're supposed to do is just buy a building for the university and then bribe your way in that way. And the point...
It's the news that Desperate Housewives star Felicity Huffman is among more than 40 people charged in a US college cheating scam, according to unsealed court records. There was no suggestion that the schools were involved in any wrongdoing. Is it taking it too far, Kaye?
Well, as someone with a doctorate in astrophysics that, that my mum bought me 2 Christmases ago, it's terrible, isn't it? I'm absolutely outraged. Absolutely outraged. I got into Grangemouth High on my own merits. You know?
And well done, you.
It was more difficult to get out, of course. That wasn't easy, but I'm outraged.
What about you, Mark? Are you outraged? I mean, you're a parent. Would you do this to your own kids?
I would certainly never, ever use any of my children to further my career. I can understand the bribes for academic. It's the athletic scholarships. Because there was a football scholarship and they'd never played the game. And you're kind of like, how long do you think you're going to get away with this? Like, you're going to bribe your daughter to get in for a swimming scholarship. And then the first meet, oh, she's drowning. Oh, no.
You call this pushy parenting. I mean, like, it's rich white pushy parents are spending tens of thousands of dollars to do it. Indian pushy parents just do this with a rolling pin and a look in the eye.
Yeah.
You know, my mum and dad did not need to bribe anyone.
What about you, Janey? Do you have any sympathy for the parents in this position?
Well, I gave birth to a daughter and she got a better career than me, so ram it.
Is there ever any justification for cheating?
Yes.
That was a very quick answer, Mark. Go on, then.
I cheated on my university exams. Look at me now. Yeah, and the worst thing is, I cheated on all of my exams and I still got a 2-2, which shows you that I'm not even good at cheating.
Yes, the head women's football coach at Yale was allegedly paid $400,000 to accept a student who didn't even play the sport. That student, thankfully, no longer attends Yale, but they have secured a place in Alex McLeish's latest Scotland squad. Mark and Kaye, 2 stories and 1 clip for you. What do you make of this?
In the 50 years since oil and gas was first
Desensitised by graphically violent lyrics,
the Oil and Gas Authority
has found fans of death metal music
ought to be kept under the seabed.
Despite the fact that we were told we had none, we've actually got loads of oil. So I think we should turn Aberdeen now into a Dubai-style state.
Yes.
Where everyone in Aberdeen just rides around on donkeys instead of camels. And rather than the tallest building, Aberdeen should build the widest building. So just a mile-long bowling alley.
The forecasts of how much oil and gas could be produced by the UK offshore industry have been revised upwards. The industry regulator now believes 11.9 billion barrels will be extracted by 2050, up from an estimate of 8 billion barrels 4 years ago.
Well, you know, we're now looking towards green energy and electrification of cars, etc., etc. So it's a wee bit kind of after the event, isn't it? I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with our oil. What are we going to do with it?
Sell it.
To who? To who, Janey?
To people that need oil. Lots
Mechanics.
of folk with caravans. When the Brexit hits and we've nae hussies, I'll punt the oil. I think that we, as Scottish people, and I say we, people who think like me, have always been told that we're too wee, we're too poor and we don't have enough oil. So now it turns out we're quite rich and I'm looking forward to a mile-long bowling alley in Aberdeen.
a ridiculously prosperous country if we'd thought a bit more in the 70s. I did a gig in Norway last year, and it's amazing. You go to Norway, and it looks exactly like Scotland would if we'd kept our oil, and it cost 15 quid a pint.
Is that a trade-off you're willing to make?
I'll be honest, no. If they had found a couple of billion barrels of lager in the North Sea.
So what else could be used to help our economy?
So I've got a potential new renewable energy source. I think that we set up a sequence of tannoys in Glasgow and have my accent coming out of it saying the words, "You are fundamentally ruled by Westminster," and the sheer weight of the rage generated will be enough to heat the entirety of Scotland.
Absolutely, I think. Yes, the revival in the oil and gas sector is correct, Mark and Kaye. You got a point for that one. What do you think our second story might be?
Death metal music apparently does not desensitise people to violence. It's previously thought that it might. But I don't know what death metal music is. What is death metal music?
This is a study published in the Royal Society Open Science Journal. They did a study. The two tracks they used were Happy by Pharrell Williams and Eaten by the Swedish death metal group Bloodbath. Now, I know, Kaye, you're chomping at the bit to hear a bit of Bloodbath. Audience, do you want to hear some Bloodbath?
Yes.
Here is that song. That was Eaten by Bloodbath.
Yes, it sounds like Theresa May.
There will be a third vote, and you will agree to my terms.
I think it's very important to know the parameters of the study. So in this study, they were comparing your reaction to violent images when you were listening to death metal with your reaction to violent images when you were listening to Happy by Pharrell Williams. So all we've really proven is that maybe Happy by Pharrell Williams make people as murderous as death metal does.
It's an incredibly easy thing to blame any violence on media. When I was young, I played Super Mario Brothers about 18 hours a day, and I have never attempted to fix a toilet.
I like heavy metal music. I've got a friend who's in a heavy metal band, Corey Taylor from Slipknot, who's in Stone Sour now as well. See, I'm up with the kids.
You're supposed to be down with them, Janey.
No.
So if it's not death metal that makes you angry, what type of music really annoys you?
Whale music.
Whale music?
Whale music. I mean, it's supposed to relax you. You go to these spas or wherever you go and it's like whale music.
I'm with you, quite right. That,
Thank you. Oh, terrible.
I'm trying to get exfoliated. Ooh.
The hold music for HMRC.
Oh.
It's pain on the way to pain.
You know what angers me? Scottish country dancing music. Right? Hear me out. Because it gives me Vietnam-style flashbacks to every November to January in PE where I would be ridiculed and made to go and ask the best-looking girl in our year for a dance and for her to just laugh in my face.
But my memory of Scottish country dancing is when they'd pair you off and they ran out of partners for you.
Yes,
And you had to dance with a teacher. To be fair, I have to say, Mr. McGuigan was a fantastic move. And at the end of the round, the teams are all square. So this round is all about who is in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. Mark and Kaye, you're up first this time. Just tell me, who's this?
Right now, I think it's really in the balance. I'm very concerned about nastiness and misinformation spreading.
I think it is. It's the 30th anniversary of the internet, isn't it? And yes, and Tim Berners-Lee, the man who invented the internet. My good, that's quite a good one on your CV, isn't it?
It's all right. This is the World Wide Web inventor, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who's told the BBC that global action is required to tackle the web's downward plunge to a dysfunctional future.
I don't understand what he would expect. if you give every single person in the world access to share stuff with every single other person in the world, like, it's a great thing, the internet, and it's also a terrible thing. It's the same with books. People went through this with books. They would go, oh my God, there's so many great literature around here. There's Dickens. And then Dan Brown came along and you go, oh my God, literature has got... I'm worried about the direction literature is going in here.
Well, this is Tim Berners-Lee saying that he thinks the World Wide Web may need fixed.
Tim Berners-Lee needn't worry, because it has been fixed by the Russians. The job is done, Tim. You're all right on that one.
Sorted it out, haven't they? What do you think the future will be for the World Wide Web? Where will the internet be in 30 years' time?
I think that in 30 years, the internet is going to be in our brains and we're going to be directly interfacing with machines and uploading our consciousness, or we're going to be trading shells for water. And there's absolutely no middle ground.
Janey, obviously a powerful place, the World Wide Web, but there are some destructive forces on it as well.
Of course it does open you up to getting abused online, which I get an awful lot. And what a lot of people don't understand is I've hit my menopause and I'm quite bored and I really like it. I've got time in my hands. The only thing that's saved my marriage is Twitter. I've stopped fighting with my man and I've just started fighting with other people and we're getting along cracking.
That was the creator of the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee. OK, Janey and Ahir, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
Wales is famous for producing singers. We are the land of song. But some of the traditional stereotypes of daffodils and male voice choirs and Myfanwy are just too simplistic.
Charlotte Church. She's speaking about her sobriety and her regretfulness that we have after you get drunk on a Friday, Saturday night. I think she's grown up a wee bit and went, it was brilliant back in the late, you know, the noughties being a lad and lagering it up, and now I'm going to take up pottery and do a wee bit of stenciling. I'm guessing.
Yeah, you know what, you're absolutely right. Charlotte Church has said this week that she's cut back on drinking because she cannot deal with the anxiety that comes after boozy nights out, and says that she feels fabulously brilliant after cutting back since the start of the year.
Yeah, I think fair play to her. If it's the right thing for her to do, then it's the right thing for her to do. I think you end up giving things... I've had to give up cigarettes recently, or more accurately, people who love me keep shouting that they're worried I'm going to die, so now I have to smoke a USB stick.
I had the worst hangover when I was 16. That's the only time I drank and never drank. It was September weekend, 1977. I went home and I was so drunk that my mum did that Glasgow thing where she beat me the words while I was sick, like, don't you ever drink again, And I just remember lying there for 3 whole days over September weekend, and every time she remembered I was there again, she'd go, what did I tell you?
On the plus side, this is where you got your spectacular sense of rhythm from.
Yes.
What about it then, Kaye? So Charlotte Church, obviously a big lifestyle change for her.
I just find it a bit boring, this thing. She's apparently done the dry January, it's going to February, and I don't know why we keep having to have these kind of labelled months and challenges, etc. I mean, if you don't want to drink, don't drink, but everything's got to be a big kind of hurrah about it, and, you know, I just don't see the point of that.
It's just young people, they need words.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah.
It's just they need labels. They can't just go, we're gone shopping. They're like, ladies' day out.
What's that? Prosecco o'clock?
Charlotte Church has given up the drink then. What's the one thing you'd be willing to give up and why?
I think, considering Brexit and Trump for the rest of the year, I am going to give up.
2 points go to Janey and Ahir. So much of our news is about public opinion. So for this round, we've gone out and found some people to comment on the news. Janey and Ahir, for your team, we spoke to fitness coach Max. What story do you think Max is talking about here?
Well, I feel like most people in the UK should be able to pinpoint most places where they are, whether it is Scotland or England, but My dad's half English, so that's probably why I'm a bit better knowledge towards the whole of UK. I think nowadays, if you're geography, I mean, if you can't pinpoint where someone is on the map, it doesn't exactly mean that you're not very bright.
I think that Max was talking about the poor quality of geographical knowledge in the country.
This is the story that half of UK adults struggle with basic geography. For example, many can't pinpoint where Devon is on a map, with 1 in 10 getting the county confused with Cornwall. It is an interesting one, Janey. Do you buy into this then, that we're getting less and less aware of where we actually are in the world?
I think we do. I've always been confused when people say it's south of West Nile Street. I'm like, what does that mean? What's south? You know, or they go, it's on the east side of Buchanan Street. I'm like, why am I facing when I know where east is? You need to tell me, am I beside the shop or is it my left-hand side the arcade? So no, I'm rubbish at geography. I've been in a city and I've had to phone my husband up and say, I forget where the shops are. He'd been there once. And he's like, if you go round the corner, there's a tram line, take a left, you'll see a baker's and it's there. And I'm like, maybe he's just foleying me.
I am excellent at geography. And can I just say it is lovely to be here in Bishopton.
Kaye, can you relate to this then? Do you think that we're getting worse at geography?
Well, I don't know. Unlike Janey, I'm actually pretty good. It's my partner who's not very good. We drive to the end of our road every time. He will drive and we'll get to the end of the road and he will say, which way?
So according to this survey, 50% of British people don't know where India is, and I know where India is, so it's got to be 2 out of 3 out of mum, dad, or my sister. And that'd be an astonishing lack of memory for 2 of them, really.
The iPhone used to have a compass.
Yes.
And you kind of go, if you've got the maps there, who's using the compass? Who's, like, a cheeky Nando's? Absolutely. Eastwards we go.
Mark, when yous were wee boys, there's people in this audience, men in this audience, will remember when, way back in the early 70s, you used to buy a shoe called Commando Wayfair. Yes. I can't believe I remembered that. And in the heel of the shoe was a compass.
Wow.
Girls never got it, they just wandered about.
2 points to Janey and Ahir. Mark and Kaye, here's librarian Dawn. What is Dawn on about here?
My house is currently very upside down as I'm decorating, so lots of things aren't getting done. I think there's a time and a place for cleaning. If you're stressed, it can be a stress buster. But if I'm being forced to do it, I always become more stressed.
It's something about, is it being too busy to do the housework, that we're not as clean as we were once because we just don't have the time in our lives to do the housework?
Well done. That was that millions of adults found that they are too busy to clean their home. A study has found balancing working hours and looking after kids means 1/3 of adults struggle to find time for housework. Is this a problem you have, Mark?
Well, I've got 2 kids, so honestly, what's the point?
Do you relate to this, then, the fact that we're now too busy to be bothered with the chores around the house?
I do, and it's a terrible indictment of me, considering I am a deeply self-employed man and theoretically too busy to do major bits of housework, but not too busy to have rewatched 5 seasons of Game of Thrones in the last 2 weeks. So I've just got my priorities entirely wrong, I think.
What, in your view, is the worst cleaning chore, the one that you hate the most?
The oven cleaning, that's a big problem.
Oh, I don't. I
isn't
just
it?
buy a new one.
What? You're clatty.
I do.
Oven cleaning is a big one because you've got to use chemicals and gloves, and I'm joking, my husband does it.
Is there any that you really dislike, Kaye?
Funny enough, it is unloading a dishwasher. I've got a dishwasher that barely gets used because I hate unloading a dishwasher.
Yeah.
Oh, I find it quite satisfying.
No, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'd rather do the dishes, I'd rather dry the dishes and put them away than actually do the unloading of the dishwasher.
I hate that.
I hate cleaning the bath, but only for the plug. And I'm the only one in my house that has short hair. So whenever I clean it, it looks like Chewbacca's had a shave. It's like... You know when magicians just keep pulling stuff?
I'm not lazy because I've got a robot vacuum cleaner. No, I'm lazy because I stand on it to get a lift into the kitchen. The lack of time to clean our homes is the right answer. Well done. 2 points go to Mark and Kaye. And It's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I'll read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
I'm buzzing to see yous.
That was Theresa May there, arriving back in Brussels. It was actually MP Mary Black. There you go. Right, fingers on the buzzers. What makes you 4 times less likely to be divorced?
Not getting married.
Smart, this boy. What makes you 4 times less likely to be divorced?
Is it being married by a humanist celebrant?
Kaye Adams has given us exactly the right answer. Well done.
Well done, Kaye.
£60,000 will get you what?
A scholarship to Glasgow Cali.
£60,000 will get you what?
A night with Des. No questions asked.
Definitely.
A fortnight with Des.
Absolutely. 60 grand, I'll be in any room in the house for you, don't worry. £60,000 will get you a first edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Well, a collectible for you. UK adults do what every 12 minutes?
Dream of that night with Des.
UK adults do what every 12 minutes?
Is it look at their phone?
After several appearances on the radio version of this show and probably many hundreds of attempts at getting a right answer, Janey Godley has just given me the correct answer.
I'm buzzing to see yous.
And that is the klaxon Mary has blacked, which means it is all over. And in a close contest at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Janey Godley and Ahir Shah. So close. Commiserations to Kaye Adams and Mark Nelson. We'll leave you with the breaking news just in. The UK's first payment cards with built-in fingerprint scanners are to be launched by the Royal Bank of Scotland. No longer will muggers be stealing your cash, soon it'll be use your fingers, pal. James Bond will drive an electric car in the next film of the franchise. As a result, various famous Bond films are set to be renamed, such as Live and Let Your Battery Die and Dr. No Gone Very Far. And partygoers trekked across Britain 4,500 years ago for huge Glastonbury-style gatherings near Stonehenge, experts say. Forensics tell us those in attendance were entertained by druidic chanting, monotonous drums, and a headline set from Rod Stewart. The news is broken. I've been Des Clarke. Goodbye.